Hey everyone, this is the ShutInBakas. My name is Chris, and I'm here with Jared again.
Hi, I'm sorry. I don't make videos ever. Sorry, sorry. No.
Sorry, but I'm not sorry, is essentially what you're saying.
Yes, lack of motivation.
Yeah, that happens, don't worry. Once you get into the habit of it, you just kind of force yourself through it regardless. But that's not what's happening today. We're not forcing ourselves to make this video. We actually want to. Well, at least I want to, I can't speak for him. So today, Mushoku Tensei ended. The first season ended, and God, it was a ride. Like, I I still remember the day where I looked on my Anime Lab, and I saw recently added Jobless Reincarnation, and I thought to myself, that sounds familiar. Bear in mind I had Jared and some other friends around at the time, so I was just scrolling, and I thought, that sounds familiar. I looked at my manga shelf, and there it was. Jobless Reincarnation, the manga. And I was like, damn, okay, I didn't know that was getting an anime. I really enjoyed reading that first volume, like, 2 times, because, I was too poor to actually buy it all at the time. And, yeah, I click on it, and we watch the first episode, and pretty much everybody except for Joseph gasmed at the animation, because he doesn't like things.
No, we don't even know how to describe that one.
Yeah,
but we have another friend who's worse.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, as soon as that started, I was like, okay, damn, bet I'm watching this entirely. I reread the first volume of the manga that day because I was like, okay, I need to know what's happening again. I want to compare it, and it was pretty faithful. The manga is not faithful to the light novel overall, but I hear the anime is a lot more faithful to the light novel, so it's a bit of a weird one, but they still tell the same story. And yeah, just damn man, the animation, the music, the character designs, even Rudius, he grew on us, he grew on everyone, I think, as time went on. Either that or you just hated him as time went on. I don't know. I personally went from going, come on man, get over the females, to, you go Rudius, you make a life for yourself.
Keep that treasure safe.
Yeah, keep that sacred treasure. Yeah, so this is going to have full spoilers, by the way, for the first season, so if you haven't caught up and watched the final episode, which just came out today, go watch that before watching this video, because we're going to be talking about what happened in that. So, yeah, overall, we already talked about Season 1, I don't think we need to do an in-depth view on that, but we haven't really done a video since the first episode of Part 2. Sorry, I keep having to specify that Season 2 and Part 2 of Season 1 is 2 different things. Why can't they just call it Season 2?
Because fuck you.
Just making things difficult. Anyway. So, yeah, the first episode we talked about was the one where Rudius got his demon eye by the demon god, or emperor, or whatever she's calling herself. And from that point onwards, it was just bizarre and wacky. Like, we did watch it every week, and the reason we didn't make videos on it every week is because, well, we couldn't be bothered for one, and for two, I think it would get a bit stale if we were just talking about every single thing that happened. It would get a bit milking, it'd be like milking the cow a bit too much, And I don't want to be one of those channels that just milks topics for the hell of it, Yeah, so, overall, I think just doing a couple episodes on the show per season is more than enough. Right, so Season 2, basically, it's more of the same. We said that in the first episode, but it got a lot more story to it, I guess. Like, everything became a lot more tense, because they were in a different country, they were in a different continent even, and they were having to deal with the harshness of the demon continent, which they didn't stay there for as long as I thought they would.
Only a couple episodes.
Yes, only a few episodes, really. And the first part that made me go, okay, this show is really, like, getting itself into the characters and story, was the moment where Rudius met up with his father. And I think that was the part where everyone just went, okay, this actually has a lot to give. Because it actually, like, realistically told a character. Like, it wasn't just a whole bunch of, yes, I am happy that my son is alive, and, yes, I am the overly, powerful and strong independent father. You know, it's not that. He was literally just depressed. And who wouldn't be in his situation? Like, it was a completely realistic character. Like, he was incredibly depressed because his wife was missing, his girlfriend maid was missing, his girlfriend, his daughter of the girlfriend maid was missing. And yeah, and you know, Rudius showed up with all of his happy adventure stories, and he was like, so you were off having fun while I was off suffering, you bastard. And yes, obviously everyone was like, okay, so he's the worst father of the year, gotcha. But no, I can't call him the worst father, because while yeah, he did some bad stuff in that part, it's realistic, you know? Like, people are only human, they're not perfect examples of, you know, society. They're we live in a society. I'm sorry, I had to say it. It was a good recreation of, like, a character that's realistic, in my opinion. What did you think, Jared? Did you think he was realistic, or do you think it was just played up?
I mean, bit of an asshole at first, but he was fine.
yeah, I mean, that's how it is. And we did get to see him in the end of the last episode, so that was good. We got to see him meet up with the maid and the maid daughter, so they're all happy again. And so let's continue on. So after that, they went off to find the maid in I forget what country it was, but it was like a Chinese, like, centric city at one point. And then they moved on to like some Egyptian town sort of place. The places in this world are very varied.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. And yeah, so they saved the maid, found out that it was the guy who was being taught by Roxy, the noble, and it was really I hate that kid so much. He's such a pain. And then his big brother just comes along and just like almost crushes his skull. That was entertaining. And yeah, overall it was a fun time because the big brother was just such a big fan of Rudius's anime statues. Yeah, I see he's going to become a figure collector in the future. And yeah, so after that, they left, and was it that they went back home after that?
I think they did.
That's right. No, before that, they ran into the dragon god.
Oh, and got murdered.
Yeah, the most the most intense part of the show. That episode is amazing, in my opinion. Like, it had so much stuff in it that was like, damn, okay, that was epic. Like, the animation at the beginning where Rujid and Eris were training, like, they were going at it, and like you could see the fluid frames. It was nutty. And you know, they had those small things, like, I keep bringing it up every time, but they had the part where Rudius was feeding the cow his water magic, like, letting it drink it. Like, that's just a detail that you don't think about, but yeah, these poor transport animals need to drink and, you know, eat.
And then it jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, and then it jumped off a cliff. Kind of forgot about that one. Yeah, so they meet the dragon god. Eris and Rujid are absolutely horrified, but Rudius doesn't really seem to notice. For some reason, I don't really know why he didn't notice any of that, but maybe he was just a bit too happy-go-lucky at the time. And he made the fatal mistake of mentioning that he knows the man god. And the dragon god immediately went into battle mode and almost killed him when won a strike. Rujid, you know, our big strong man who can beat anyone, he's the strongest guy we know, got wrecked. Eris got one shot. And Rudius,
tried.
Yeah, he tried. To be fair, he actually did manage to, like, wreck his hand with, like, that spike earth thing. I don't know what that's called, but it was a pretty cool scene. He's just like, oh, Sokka. Sokka! And, yeah, then in brutal fashion, he picks him up and donuts Rudius. I don't know
Shows your characters can relate.
yeah. I don't know what anime's obsession with characters becoming donuts are, but, that's them, I guess. And, yeah, while Rudius is bleeding out, he's having his life flash before his eyes and, regretting the fact that he couldn't protect Eris. And that was just kind of a cool moment because you realize that Rudius is trying to take this more seriously, because you could tell when he started in this world, he was just taking this as an RPG. It's like, oh yes, I'm going to go and make a harem. But now he's in like survival mode. He's got to live. Like, what if he dies again? Like, that's game over, man. And I like that with the character development, because it's just kind of like taking a character that's painfully like stupid, but then making them more realistic in some regards. And yeah, overall, I really loved that episode. What did you think, Jared? Do you think it's probably the best episode in the season?
I mean, there's no competition for it, really.
Yeah, there's not really, like, huge episodes for that. Like, in terms of story development, that one was very good, and the fight scenes were like, ooh, nice. Not overly drawn out, just straight to the point. And yeah, I think it was a very good episode, because the next episode, everyone was overly depressed about the fact that they just got their asses handed to them, and like they almost all died. Because the dragon god healed Rudius because his attendant told him something that we don't know yet. And yeah, for whatever reason, Rudius is back on his feet. I think one detail Jared and I quite liked was the fact that in the next episode, his jacket had a hole in it where his hand would have gone through him, and it was like stitched up, and it's like, hey, detail. It's like, wow, they actually thought of that. Good job. Another episode I really loved was the Roxy episode. That one is top notch, and it's definitely not biased because I love Roxy or anything. But that episode was very emotional, and I think that's probably the best character-driven episode in the series, because we didn't know much about Roxy other than the fact that she's a demon from the demon continent, and she left her home years ago, and apparently she's 40. She's a legal lolly, guys. Get used to it. It's anime. And basically, that episode was very heartwarming and breaking all at the same time, because Roxy went back to her family after having met up with her old crew, her old team, which was that horse dude. What was his name? Nekopara? Nekopara? I think so.
Something like that.
Because we kept going, oh my god, it's Nekopara. Cat girls, where? Yeah, she met up with him, and, she was convinced to go meet her family again. And the reason she left her home was because she felt out of place in her own hometown because everybody there spoke in telepathy. From what I've rewatched that episode about twice now. From what I understand, that actual place doesn't speak a spoken language. That is why she can't communicate with anyone, because her parents specifically had to learn a language to speak with her. So that means that entire town is basically telepathy only. They can't do anything. Which makes you wonder how, they talk with outsiders. Maybe with telepathy, they can just talk with their heads. Like, they can listen to the outsider's thoughts. Maybe? I don't know. So, yeah, basically, Roxy was very sad that she couldn't communicate with anyone there. Her parents were trying their best, but obviously they can't help her fit in. And so she left, with no word. And when she arrived, they were like, oh my god, Roxy, you're back! And it was all very cold. And, they went off and said, okay, we'll get dinner ready, and then immediately started speaking in telepathy, so Roxy couldn't hear them again. But it's only their, natural instinct to do that, because that's their language. And so she's like, okay, well, I'm going, bye. It's like, okay.
Yeah, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, fuck you, mom and dad, I'm leaving. And they're like, okay, just please come back every, 20 years. I'll think about it, maybe 50. Yeah, and then the crying starts, and it's just a heartbreaking moment, but it's also heartwarming because then they all get all nice and family bonding moments, and Roxy learns that just because, you think you might be an inconvenience on your family doesn't mean you actually are, because parents, they look out for their children. That's their job. And yeah, it was a beautiful episode, what can I say? Until eventually Roxy went back to the hometown and they found the elf girl fucking a whole bunch of men again. I swear to God, they cannot have a nice episode without having her fuck people. It's impossible. Anyway, that episode was good, and in the more present, we got to the part where Rudius lost his V card, which I didn't think was actually going to happen in this season, but Eris just kind of said, hey, my family's dead, wanna fuck? I mean, that's essentially what happened. And Rudius was like, no, that'd be kind of like taking advantage of you, right? And she's like, I want your kittens, Nya. And he's like, ooh, okay. Horny mode activated. And yeah, so non-actually graphic sex scene happened. Like, we didn't actually see anything, so that was weird. You'd think for a show that is so hell-bent on sexual innuendos and content, they would show something, but they didn't. Thanks, phone. And yeah, it's surprising how they didn't, but I am almost certain in the Blu-ray of that part, they are going to add a scene. If you're interested, comment section, go onto YouTube, type in Mushoku Tensei Blu-ray scene, and you'll find a part where Zenith and Paul are literally raw-dogging each other in 4K, because they decided to add that in for fun. So, take that as you will. And, yeah, so then the last episode, Eris had left, and Rudius took that very harshly, because Eris just left without telling him, saying, oh, I need to go on a journey, bye, lol. And it was just very sad, because Rudius just got very depressed. And we got more backstory into Rudius's past life. Actually, that's the weird part. As far as I'm aware, we don't actually know what Rudius's actual old name was. Not that it's relevant, but yeah, we don't know who he was, we just know what he did. And overall, it was a sad backstory, because of course it was. Anime backstories are always sad. And we got to see more of his bullying, his trauma, all of that garbage. It was very sad. And I feel like it's trying to make you feel more relatable to the character, but sure. The point is, Rudius is human. He's not just he's not just a pervert, he's not just a main character, he's a human being with feelings and a fucked up past. And I think that's what people don't give the benefit of the doubt to this show. They take one look at Rudius and say, oh, he's a pedophile, he's a 30-year-old man looking at 10-year-old girls and going, oh yeah. No, he's just a really, misguided person. Like, he had such a bad life that, he didn't have anyone to turn to, he didn't have any role models, he just did. That's just it. And it's also the ambiguous question of, is it technically pedophilia if the person is still 10 years old to begin with? But we're not going to get into that, because I'm sure YouTube algorithm wouldn't like us using the P word. Anymore, that is. Yeah, so we found out that Zenith is apparently off in a desert somewhere. She's alive. That's awesome. We definitely want the MILF still alive. We found out that Sylphie is alive. We only know this because it is very obvious. In the final scene after the credits, they show Sylphie with white hair and glasses. I like how those are the two most identifying factors. But yeah, she was wearing glasses and had white hair, like she'd mastered Ultra Instinct or something. But overall, I'm very excited for Season 2. Like, it's just going to get more interesting from here, because Rudius has gone off on his own to try and find his mother and Sylphie, because Rujit has gone off to, help the Superid's, reputation. Eris has gone off on her own, doing her own thing. And Paul is off on a different continent right now, so yeah, Rudius is really just on his own. And yeah, Roxy is also off in a different continent, so he's really just got to make his own party at this point. He's got to find a new, gang of friends. Which I'll be interested to see how that goes, because he doesn't really have a good impression on people. People meet him and go, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Looks at them. Oh, many things. Oh, many things. This is all the weather.
Do you want to see the list? Yeah, so overall, fantastic story. Like, it's genuinely got me to the point where every week I was, like, foaming at the mouth for the next part. Like, as soon as the episode ended, I was like, fuck, give me more. I need more. And, not many shows can do that for me nowadays. For example, I like Mediko-chan, but it's not like I'm foaming at the mouth to know what the next part of that is. It's like, oh no, she's gonna be scared. Again. Woo! Or Komi can't communicate. Oh no, she won't be able to communicate. Again. Woo! I mean, I don't know what else you want from me, really. I know those are probably not very good examples, considering they don't have plots, they're more slice-of-life shows, but this one just really did it for me, considering it's one of the oldest manga I had, and I loved reading it, and the fact that I was able to, watch along and see the parts that I've read in full fluid animation was just really good to me. As someone who hasn't seen it, Jared, what did you think of it? Like, would you say that this is probably one of the best isekai out there?
It's up there, but you can't show it to anyone.
No, you can't show it's one of those, like, advanced class anime, like, those at the top of the tier list. At the bottom, you've got stuff like Sword Art, because that's technically an isekai, let's be real. At the bottom, you've got, I don't know, would you say Re:Zero might be at the bottom? Because while it's brutal, it's also catching. Kind of hard to say. I would say that Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime would be kind of near the bottom. Because while it is a good show, it's pretty basic overall. It kind of lays out all of its themes right away, just so people know what it's getting into. Except for the Demon Lord stuff. Nobody, I think, saw that one coming. So either way, we'll do a tier list, I'm sure, at some point on isekai anime, but that's for another day.
Wrap this up.
Yes.
I'm dying.
Yes, it is currently about 26 degrees or so where we live, and that might not sound very bad to everyone else, but here in New Zealand, that is horrifying. We're used to just living in snow and cold. We're not used to hot temperatures. Not that I haven't seen snow in a very long time. I wish we did. Anyway. So, thank you all for watching. Leave us a comment down below telling us what you thought of Mushoku Tensei. Look forward to the OVA coming out next year. It's said to be coming out around March, so that will be taking over the Goblin part that we didn't get to see with Eris. And yeah, tell us what you think about that. Don't leave any spoilers for future parts of the series, please. We really want to go into this stuff blind. It's more fun that way. Comment, like, dislike, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't follow me on Twitter. I barely use it anymore. I just really use it to keep up with the news, and that's about it. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Jesus Christ.